Oh wait, I didn't write. Fuck, I didn't write an intro.
You didn't write a little
Shit.
ditty?
1 second.
Phoebe.
Hi. What?
You got one.
You got one. Hi, I'm the girl that's hiding behind the dumpster, Phoebe.
I'm scared, Jacque.
Welcome to Do You Ever Feel Like?
Where we ask the questions that everyone's thinking and no one's answering.
I don't know. It just came to me. I went with it. I don't know what it means, and I don't want to find out. Yeah. Whatever. You work with me.
Yeah.
You're not right.
Jack took a picture of himself in a hat, and he said, "Please make this your screen, your iPhone thing."
Oh my god, he looks so serious in it. It's like
Seriously?
it's such a non-photo. It's like
He's like, he thinks it's like so ironically funny. I'm like, you're so annoying.
that looks like a photo that a man would put like on his dating, like on his like app thing, and be like, I look really fucking hot here. Like, this is what women love.
Yes, that's exactly why he told me to put it on. He was like, you should put it on here because it's like a hot photo or whatever. And I was like, yeah, but it's not. And he was like, I know. That's why it's funny. It was very funny.
Men not emoting in photos is such a crime of the century. Like, it's so upsetting to me. Like, frickin' we need this. I mean, this is actually a good weird segue because I think we all need men need Dead Poet Society because it literally kills women. Anyway, that's dark.
Have you seen that reel that's like all about dating profiles with men? And it's like, I can't, like, a woman who doesn't take herself too seriously.
Yeah.
It's like, it's this little song this woman made, and she's like, but you can't take yourself too seriously.
Yep.
She has to be cute and fun and can't take herself too seriously. She has to be funny. Yeah.
Oh god, they like hate women. They hate women. So bad. Ay. Anyway, how are you?
I'm obsessed with us. I'm obsessed with us. That's all. That's how I've been feeling today. Really obsessed with us.
I woke up feeling the same.
Yeah. Really obsessed with us. Really proud of us for hosting this workshop. Like,
I know, me too. I wrote that each week. Okay, so shout out to Lexia, Pretty Decent. She's this really great little planner, Notion planner. And each week I ask, the first question is, how did last week go? Like, reflect, what are you happy with, whatever. And I was like, oh my god, I'm actually so proud of Jacqueline and I. And I didn't tell you that. I should have sent you a text to tell you I was proud of you.
Oh my gosh, so proud of you. So proud of us.
Thank you.
So proud of doing this, like, honestly, just wild bonkers thing together. Just totally wackadoo. Like, absolute chaos.
I know, but it feels good every time I get closer to I feel like lately I've been like a never-ending banana peel, and I just like every time I pull back a layer, I'm like, oh, I'm getting closer and closer to who I am. It's not like it's like the opposite of growth. It's like the opposite of evolution. It's like just like deeper and deeper into my magma, into my core. You know?
Yeah, we often think of growth, right, as like taking up,
expansive,
or like expanse. Yeah, interesting.
No, I am a banana. I'm a naked banana.
Shrivels.
Yeah, I'm a what's it called? I'm a I'm a reduced banana, like I'm pure banana.
Mhm. Mhm. Yep.
Anyway, so what if business felt like art?
The possibilities.
What if business felt like art? This is like, what would you call this? This is like our hypothesis. Is a hypothesis a question? I think it could be.
A hypothesis is
I think it has to be a question, no?
yeah. I think
Or
it's the answer. A hypothesis technically I think is like what you
what
think
we
the
think.
answer is. Yeah.
Right. So I guess Jacqueline and I think business could be art if we just all got out of our own ways. There we
Yes.
go. That's our hypothesis.
Mhm.
Because we need artists.
We do.
I
We
we go ahead.
I was about to say, yeah, we need artists. We need art businesses need artists and artists need, the things that are kind of traditionally, socially, whatever kind of
Mhm.
categorized under business
Yeah.
or the doing of business, right?
Yeah. I was thinking today about early pandemic. Well, I'm thinking about the writer's strikes
Mhm.
recently and how, especially early pandemic, I've always just felt this way, but this was just really highlighted of like the art is like what pulls us through our deepest, darkest moments in life, and how I really think we take art and artists for granted, especially because, I mean, like, fucking Zuck owes all artists like a big payday for making his app what it is, because it literally would not exist without artists, and so much of the
Mhm.
world wouldn't exist without artists. And so, like, I really think we need a better appreciation and understanding of like what actually, like, creatives and, like, listener, like, people listening to this right now, like, I think the world needs a better understanding of like how important and valuable and like desired and needed and like
Mm.
required for human evolution, understanding, and growth,
Mhm.
um but I guess this is our
Mhm.
actual hypothesis, is like, we believe, Jacqueline and I believe here at Do You Ever Media, that businesses, organizations need the creativity and that like spark thread power of artists. Um, but that also artists deserve and are allowed to have and access and, I don't know, quite frankly, need in some way resources and community to actually be able to survive.
Yep. Mhm. Mhm. We're really interested in like what happens when we infuse more art into business, into organizations, into this idea of whatever, like organizational business, right? And then what happens when, we infuse art into business and business into art? What can that look like?
Mhm. Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, like, what's the possibility if we ask ourselves that question? Like, what worlds, I'm really into metaverses right
Mhm.
now, as you know,
Mhm.
but like, what worlds are possible when we take these two things that I think we think of as like, or are, not think of, but we are conditioned to, and capitalism and, white supremacy needs us to think of these things as separate, but I think
Mhm.
they have far more in common if we let them breathe together, instead of it feeling like we are shoving this, what's it, round peg
Mhm.
square hole. Like, I don't think it needs to be that way, and I think so many creatives approach business with this like, ugh, I gotta do it kind of
Mhm.
mindset, and
Mhm.
or not even just mindset, like expectation, nervous system, like on guard kind of response. um
Mhm.
and then I think businesses as well, like the rigidity, the structure of these things are, uh, can't have like, I don't know, al dente noodles in them. It
Yeah.
can't have watercolor. It can't have expression, because then the machine starts to crumble. But I don't actually think that's true. I just think that's what people are prepared
Yes.
for in the
And I
world.
think exactly. And I think it's like our ultimate fear,
Mhm.
right? Like
Yeah.
it's like our ultimate fear is that cannot be true,
Yes. Oh,
you
yes,
know?
because that's totally this totally reconstructive of a whole new
Mhm.
reality. Like that's
Mhm.
actually very upsetting if you think that those two things could be, what's the word? Could live together.
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
Horrifying.
Scary.
Terrifying. Terrifying.
Literally.
Life
Yeah.
altering, terrifying.
Mhm.
Do you want to talk about dance?
I do want to talk about dance. I think that I just love dance. I think dance is such a connecting, visceral language,
Mm-hmm.
and I think what you point out all the time about all of your work with bodies in
Mm-hmm.
somatics and stuff is like this idea of like we all have a body
We all
and
have a
like
body and we all have
mhm
breath.
mhm
We all have these things, and even to varying, capacities and
right
uh whatever but like we all have this thing, and um it's really our first language. Like to get totally woo about it, like it is the first way that we communicate is like with a gargle and a squirm. Like that is the
mhm
first thing that we do, and it's like, honestly, if you're lucky, the last thing that you get to do as well.
oh totally
To get totally dark.
yeah absolutely. And so I think like dance can be such a universal exploration language, communication, storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, and it really like when we're talking about business and like often what kind of lives in the head, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like really
Mm-hmm.
great
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
use
Mm-hmm.
dance to get into the body because the body matters as well.
Yeah. We Jacqueline and I really, I guess like the word is like study research. We love this choreographer. His name's Nicholas Palmquist. And we'll definitely add some of our faves to the description down below. And I guarantee you've seen this person's choreography on your like TikTok,
Yes.
FYP, or your what is explore page, whatever.
Yep.
Um, but I think what is so like what you're saying, and the reason why we're talking, well, we'll talk about dance, why we're talking about dance in a second, but I think it is this, despite these people being trained professionals at what they do, and extremely good at it, it is this universality that of a thing that like creates
Mm.
emotion, something
Mhm.
that stirs inside you. And I think that's what art does. In it triggers a response of some kind
Yeah.
inside
Yeah.
of you. And so I think dance is one of the easiest ways to kind of look at something, because I don't think I've looked at a lot of paintings in my life.
Mhm.
Um and sometimes I have an emotional response, but I've never seen a dance that I don't have some sort
Oh,
of
yes. Yeah.
thought
Yeah.
about after, good or bad.
Right.
Good or bad.
Yeah. Absolutely. Mhm.
Um
Mhm.
so Jacqueline, what is art?
What is art? It's so funny that we asked this question.
I
Um,
literally love it. It's like art school. This pod episode is literally like an art school 101
yeah, Art School
course.
101. Here we go. Um, I just think it's so funny that we asked this question
Yes. Yes,
because,
yes, yes.
we obviously have our feelings about what art is. But I think it is so important, yeah, with this conversation of like, what are we even talking about? Like, what are we
Yeah.
saying when we say that feels like art or that is art?
Yeah.
There's these identifiers that I think are important for people to understand or for people to get clear on for themselves of like, what are
Yeah.
we even doing here? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like if art and business are different, are separate, or on either end of the spectrum, like what, if business is pointy, is art smooth then? And I don't, anyway, in this question asking, we've kind of distilled like our thoughts about what
Mm-hmm.
not does or doesn't make up art, but I think some like this might be art if kind of the
Yeah.
symptoms of art, if you will.
Ooh.
The maladies of art.
The symptoms of
The symptoms of
art.
art.
That's something. Ping
Much
that for a later time.
yeah, there we go. But we can talk about what that is later, but we think that art is an interruption. of
Yes.
something.
Mhm.
It's like if you're walking down the road or if you're driving down the road of, I mean, let's just stick with this metaphor. If we're driving down the road of business,
Mhm.
art is going to be, and the road is smooth and it's straight, art is going to be the curve on the road and the pebble that sends us off course. You know,
Yep.
like it's an interruption of a pattern. It's giving us that double take. It's a malfunction in the system. It's a creating tension. It's yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Mhm.
I think David Lynch is like one of my favorite artists ever. I think he is really, really great at even when you think you know what Twin Peaks is. No,
Mhm.
you don't, bitch. Because here comes a whole new thing. Whole new thing.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. A really
Um,
good example of this, of the interruption of a pattern, David Lynch. Yeah. Really good
yeah.
example. Mhm.
Yeah. I think Taylor Swift is similar as well. Like right when you think she's gonna zag, she
She
zigs.
zigs.
Just
Yep.
kind of thing with, and I say that as like not necessarily a Swiftie.
Oh,
Like, and
no.
I can like, and that's, I think that's actually why I like her so much. I mean, we talk about Beyonce later, but a whole
Yeah.
other thing. Um,
I
street
mean,
art.
it's arguable that the Swifties don't recognize that. It's
Oh,
arguable, just saying.
I'll give people way more credit than that. I mean, as a boy band aficionado in
Yes.
particular, I
Okay.
do love to get meta with my shit.
Mhm.
But I'm saying that more as like as somebody who like I think I love Taylor Swift because she is somebody who is unexpected. I don't even particularly love her music so much. I just love artists. I just love
Yeah. Yeah.
artists.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
I always do.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
but yes, knit bombing,
Oh,
street
good.
art, a flash mob, total interruptions of a pattern.
Mhm.
Jazz, just like
Yes.
all of jazz yesterday, today, and
Jazz.
tomorrow.
Yes. Mhm. Mhm. What jazz is. Yes.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, and then the literal.
Mhm.
Oh, I also love jazz. I love jazz. But yes, we think art is an interruption of a pattern.
Yes. We also think, did I lose you? You're here.
No,
You froze.
I know what I was thinking. Go ahead.
Oh. We also think that another characteristic symptom of art is like this imagination, right? So we're like interrupting a pattern and then we're like introducing a new way of thought, a new
Yeah,
world. And most of the time that new idea of thinking or new way to go or new imagination is really motivated by like a want and desire to
yeah,
express vulnerability, to express what it means to be on the planet,
yeah,
motivated by an inner truth.
yeah,
And as Phoebe so wonderfully pointed out when we were preparing for this, is that solo performers and comedians do this really, really well.
yeah. I
This
think
idea of,
like think of
go ahead.
your like flea bags. Think of
Hmm.
your. I just think if anyone's getting, I mean, maybe it's the actual function of like getting up on a stage by yourself is like truly the most vulnerable thing I think you could do. But especially as yourself, like this need, this like tug of like, it's
Hmm.
kind of like a metaverse in a way,
Hmm.
like the creation of a metaverse for like 60 minutes
Yep.
on a stage alone.
Hmm. Hmm. And in the vulnerability, in the truth telling, in that desire for truth, there is an invitation and an imagination that like this can exist for us all,
Yeah.
which I think is like what artists like Hannah Gatsby and Gerard Carmichael and Alok and Miranda July do really well.
Yeah. Yeah. Art is a discussion, a challenge,
Mm.
and a commitment. It's creating, I mean, I think this is same but different. It's creating and living it's creating and living in a way that disrupts. So I also want to call this like holistic at the same time, because if you're creating and living, it's like it's congruency. um
Mhm.
my queen, the person who I talk about in if anyone's ever been in a workshop with me before, I pull out this Toni Morrison quote because it's so
Mhm.
fucking incredible. I mean, and I love Toni Morrison so much. But I
Yep.
know the world is bruised and bleeding, and that it is important not to ignore its pain. It's also critical to refuse to refuse to succumb to its malevolence. Like failure, chaos contains information that can lead to knowledge, even wisdom, like art.
Mm, it's so
That
good.
gives me goosebumps every single time I read it. It's so fucking good. But yeah, it's like I think it's it's a real commitment to looking at the world and saying hard pass. I I want to I want more for myself, and I want to experience the like pleasure that is available to me and the expression that's
Mm-hmm.
available to me as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
Twyla
I just
Tharp,
love
the
this.
dancer,
Yes, I love this. Twyla Tharp, Shonda Rhimes, Adele. These are boundaried ladies, honestly. Like
truly,
these are literally. It's
truly,
just like these are these like beautiful boundaried ladies that are like, I'm going to make art the way I want, and I'm going to stay committed to that challenge, and I'm going to talk about it.
yeah,
Right? Like Adele talks all the time about how she makes music when it comes to her,
mm-hmm.
and she'll go years and years without making music, and I think that is such a, yeah, a beautiful commitment, and a really great example of living in a way that disrupts these systems that we're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. And I think in this kind of like, these are just, again, these are some loosey goosey, silly dilly little thoughts that Jacques and I have about art that, like, I guarantee you I will feel differently about, and or ask me the same question like tomorrow,
Oh
and
yeah.
I could give you a completely different list. And I think that is really cool as well. But I think what we're pulling at here is if we pull this thread of art being this kind of, if we're going to call it a watercolor of some sorts, being this like undefined thing that only has symptoms but doesn't have a diagnosis to, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that true for your art, and why can't that be
Mm.
true for business?
Yeah.
Whether that is an artist approaching business or somebody inside of an organization approaching, like the idea of like creation, like abstract painter in the boardroom,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
or yes, if we were to be an abstract painter in the boardroom, could we also be a oh my god, I'm like missing the other half of this thing in here. What do we call it?
Oh, like how can we bring, yeah, how can you be like a painter in the boardroom, and how can you be an executive on the dance floor? Like
Yes,
how
yes, yes,
can
yes.
these two things talk to each other, feed off each other, live and breathe with one another? Um
Hmm.
yeah, like that's we think they can. And if your art is an interruption, if it's an imagination, if it's a discussion, if it's a practice, if it's all of these things we've identified, why, yeah, what can you do to bring that into the way that you run
Yeah,
business? Why can't business be an interruption, an imagination, a
yeah,
discussion, a practice?
yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. And I think to your point as well, how do we not abandon ourselves inside of creation? Because I think that's what a lot of in the inverse, and I always want to speak to that inverse, like I think that's what artists feel if they're going to sell something, if
Hmm.
they're going to turn their creation or their idea into art. And I think that's true of people inside of a business wanting to feeling trapped by
Hmm.
the like bounds of what organization could be, or what even again, like they might be an entrepreneur, but they might not feel creative inside of their business because there's a structure in which they need to adhere to. Like, how do we not abandon ourselves for the sake of these things? And how could we bring a creative process, the exact same creative process that you use to like send a newsletter, or create your painting, or make a website, or whatever like lights your soul, or a fucking dance?
Hmm.
Could we use that same thread and pull, or the same approach to everything that we do? And again, I think this really, I mean, we can talk more about we can talk about Shonda Rhimes all day. This could be a Shonda Rhimes podcast.
Yes, it could be. Hmm.
This could be a Beyonce podcast. This could be, I mean, I think pop stars are really great at this like cohesive um way of working and learning and creating at the same time.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So yes, if business can be art and art can be business, what does that look like? So we're going to take like a little walk in our mind's eye. So maybe you want to pause the pod, grab a journal. If you're driving, like just keep driving. Actually, I have some of my best ideas while I'm driving. But we're going to imagine your business or your idea or your creative project, or like the thing that you're working on as its own play. And if the word play doesn't really resonate with you, we can definitely like flip and reverse this exercise. So it could be a painting. It could be really specific. It could be an abstract painting. It could be a song. It could be a drum solo. It could be, oh my God, it could be a dance. It could be your own kind of art. It could be the creation of something. It could be your process. But for we're gonna start with play and like just see what happens, just see how it goes. So maybe you close your eyes, but maybe you just kind of like go to your spirit where your like secret sauce lives. Open up the channel. Maybe you like move around. I don't fucking know your life, man. Imagine your business were a play. What kind of play is it? Is it a black box theater? Is it a drama? Is it a comedy? Is it a musical? Is it really colorful? Is it the Moulin Rouge? Is it Cirque du Soleil? Is it Fleabag? Is it something that's like never been done before? Is it Phantom of the Opera? Has it been on stage for a cajillion years? Is it, oh my God, I'm trying to think of plays. What kind of play is it? How does someone feel when they walk into your theater? What kind of theater? What do they see? What do they think? What do they feel? What do they smell? What's going on? Is there music going on before they get in? Is it really quiet? Are the actors sitting in the audience already? What kind of things are the people saying when they leave the theater? What's like impact does your play have? And what's your role? Are you the director? Are you the star of the show? Are you I can't think of the name, but like do you have like a little headset? Are you backstage? Are you like pulling the ropes? Are you getting people dressed? How do you want to feel in that role? And what is the role that you actually, maybe you notice that you're playing a role that you don't want to be playing. What role do you really want to be playing if your business were a play? So, and to kind of conclude,
Yes.
we cannot get watercolor results from our spreadsheet thinking. If art is the only thing that has ever existed, will ever exist, is the literal antidote to all this fucking shit that says to like not make your art, to not think outside of the box, to not push against a structure of some kind. Then I just don't think like the possibility, this vision of a new world is not going to happen by
No.
status quo. So
Nope.
Jacqueline and I have a process, have an offering to take your creative practice or to actually craft a creative practice inside of your business so that it actually feels like art.
Yes. We work with folks, organizations, business artists, creative entrepreneurs to have this beautiful day where we adventure together, where we create together, where we make together, where we create and apply your creative process and practice. It's going to be so individual to you, to whatever you want to make inside your
Yes.
business, inside your art. And it's really built and constructed to be not a recipe, but to be very specific to you. In the same way that we develop an artistic practice, it's very specific to us. We can
Yeah.
have a creative process that we also use in our business that's very specific to us.
Yes. So yes, Jacqueline and I are now booking Big Vision Days. That's what we call it. That's the process for June, which, oh my
Yes.
God, the year. And just to give listeners like an idea of recent outcomes of last couple of Big Vision Days with clients, they have been logos and visual branding, direction, online course launch, super fun, membership
Yes.
development, marketing strategies, and creative strategies around that. And then crafting a business that actually feels like the play, like the
Yep.
director, that it actually, I think, can be if we just are like, I think brave, curiosity, are the things that we need to like show up to that.
Yep.
Gorgeous.
Why can't we approach our sales calendar like we approach a play? I don't know.
I don't
Why
know,
can't
and
we?
I think we could. I think we
Let's
could.
let's do it together.
Let's do it together. Let's go find out. And let's, and now I'm excited. Okay. We gotta go. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Do You Ever Feel Like?
Follow this chaos wherever you get your podcasts.
Our artwork is by Simon Peng. Do You Ever Feel Like is produced by Jacqueline Wills
and Phoebe Taylor. You can follow us on Instagram at doyoueverpod.
You can write to us at doyoueverpod@gmail.com. Okay, bye!
Bye!